My vote is for real. Go ahead and yell at us. All right, are we ready to go? Yeah! All right,
I am a person with a disability. I have Asperger's syndrome, which is a type of autism.
To be a leader, you need to be in touch with your community and make sure that you are able to identify and support the needs that they have.
I would like access for the disabled to be a lot more direct and a lot easier to get to.
There are angels among us that you can't see, but there are even more angels right around you. So you are all angels, and please go forth and do good work.
I think that especially the Unlock the Waiting List campaign has such incredible recognition and respect at our state capitol, and we have grown the home and community-based services side of things pretty effectively with that campaign. The Unlock the Waiting List campaign is about providing services to people who have no services. And very often it means parents who are getting older that know that they can no longer care for their disabled child, having the hope that there will be a paid support network for that person at some point. It's teaching people in that network to get involved politically, and not in a partisan way, but in a way of educating and saying this is what would make life better and easier for people with disabilities. And this is what's going to make our world work better too, because if I'm working, it's better than if I'm not. You know, if I'm paying taxes, it's better than if I'm not. So yeah, it's definitely had an effect. It's teaching people how to work the political system.
This is the kind of voice that has made the difference over the last 3 or 4 years. We are making a difference.
Advocacy, to me, is synonymous with perseverance. It's just getting out there and doing what needs to be done no matter what. My name is Jordan Schwartz. I'm founder and artistic producer of the Children's Bilingual Theater. Turner syndrome is a congenital disability. It is a genetic condition. Girls are supposed to have 2 X chromosomes. I only have 1. That's it. Just 1. And with that, there are a few health implications. My kidney is slightly misshaped. I have a few heart defects, and I will not be able to have my own children. And part of Turner syndrome is just to make sure your growth goes along properly and you don't end up misproportionate in regards to organs and your physical size. You take human growth hormone injections. And because of that, I started a website called yougrowgirl.org. My message is mainly about bullying of medically fragile and developmentally disabled youth. It shouldn't happen. The reason they're different is because they're different. They don't choose it. Usually kids do not really understand why things are the way they are, and they tend to just be kids and tease people for being different. That just makes it twice as rough, because it's nothing you can do anything about.
The more we can get to our legislators and tell them our message, the better off we are.
I've just been hired as the Assistant Director of the Disability Resource Center at Clayton State University. I have a congenital disability, it's cerebral palsy, and so of course I've always had my disability. And kind of growing up, I didn't initially want to do anything professionally related to disabilities. I actually wanted to be a chef because I have a love of food, so still have that. But I kind of going through school, I was mainstreamed, and so I wasn't in any kind of self-contained classrooms or anything like that. And trying to navigate that, I realized that I was facing a lot of kind of preconceived notions about who I was and what I could do, even though I was in a typical classroom with peers that didn't have disabilities. And I think that kind of fueled my desire to work in a role where I can affect change. Are there any restrictions? The thing that I think that needs to continue to happen is a shift in attitudinal barriers, because you can't legislate an attitude. You really can't. And so while you can get the physical structures moved, and I have seen that over the last several years, and the Governor's Council on Developmental Disabilities has done a lot with Unlock the Waiting List and self-determination and lots of different things, it still needs to be a shift in terms of people's attitudes toward disabilities.
My position is program assistant with the Department of Human Resources, Division of MHTD-80, Office of Developmental Disabilities. I am a person with a disability. I have Asperger's syndrome, which is a type of autism. Asperger's syndrome is typically means a person has social anxieties or may at times be socially unaware, as well as slightly obsessive. What this means for me is I eat the same thing just about every day at the office. But I do, and I really kind of just work obsessively, and I don't talk to folks between, you know, the hours of 7 a.m. and 4 p.m. because I'm at work, and I just don't separate time out to do that.
Here at Disability Link, my title is ICW Service Coordinator. And my primary responsibility involves a caseload of people who use the Independent Care Waiver program, and I do the case management for those people. I have spinal muscular atrophy. It's a genetic muscle disease. I was diagnosed at 14 months, so I never walked. I'm pretty much dependent physically, and that's a challenge. I see people who are younger than me with disabilities, and I see that they have access and that things are easier for them. I see the results of what people have done over the years, and I think, you know, progress is being made. You know, they get to do this, and I had to fight for that, you know, and so that encourages me.
I think that really if the disabilities community wants to kind of move forward again, we need to solidify and stop segregating ourselves. You know, currently you have so many self-interest groups out there that one or two issues might get pushed through, but nothing happens that affects everyone. And I think that we really need to solidify again if something drastic is going to happen.
Well, I think what it means to me is joy and relief that there are new people and younger people to work on the same issues.
I would also like to see a lot better access, because I've noticed even at my own school, it's accessible, but it's kind of off to the side. I would like access for the disabled to be a lot more direct and a lot easier to get to.
My dream would be that everybody with disabilities who, or even older people who do not want to live in a facility would be able to have the equal choice to live in the community, would have those resources.
If we could actually start seeing people actually moving out of institutions and becoming parts of their community, and not just in group homes, but in their own homes and in a way that makes sense to them and that is beneficial for them.
I'll always be working in some form or fashion with the disability community because it is my passion, and I have a vested interest in making sure that our goals and needs are met.